Hello there, this is Jeff and Matt Kite.
And I'm Tucker.
And we're here to talk a little bit about harnesses. Now, some of our riders maybe they've been winging for a while and haven't thought about using a harness.
You were a long time holdout.
I was a long time holdout, and you guys were like, I can't believe how strong you are. Well, it's old man strength. You know, I would ride a long time without a harness, right?
Forever, dude. You'd be out there for like 3.5 hours riding hard, and I'm like, he's magic. He has like gorilla arms.
No more. So much so, once I started wearing a harness, the other day I forgot it, and I hiked up a dune all the way to my car to go get my harness in great conditions because game changer for a harness. So those of you, we're going to go over the different harnesses that are on the market.
Yeah.
Give our personal kind of viewpoints, impressions, what we like or maybe dislike about the different ones. And those of you out there that haven't thought about getting a harness, I would consider it, especially if you're starting to ride both directions, you're nailing your jibes. Harnesses, just a big picture, help you to go upwind, I think.
Yeah.
Far easier.
Definitely.
The drive.
Lowers your center of gravity, lets you direct that power, I think, more efficiently into your legs, into your foil. So you can build more speed, you can be more direct with that energy. You're not bending your back and your core over and your shoulders.
Better form for sure.
You're just locked in, you have good posture, your shoulders and hips and feet are in line with your mast. So that's gonna be your most comfortable, your most ergonomic, your most efficient mode of transferring that power, I think. And big thing for me is I don't want to go ride for 3 hours and be so fatigued in my arms that I can't do all the cool stuff, right? When I'm cruising, I want to cruise. I don't want to have to work hard for it. When I'm riding upwind and I'm just getting back to point B, I want to conserve that strength and hold on to it to do cool stuff, you know, jumping, riding waves, doing free ride tricks. Like, I want to be fresh so that I'm not just stumbling over myself when I'm trying to learn something new. And I want to have, good performance throughout my whole session. I don't want to be dogging it the last half hour just because my hands hurt. So,
and the added, for me, it really helped me with my upwind riding. Which, if you're trying to catch waves, you can tack up and head upwind a lot easier and catch the waves. And don't be intimidated by a harness. I'm an ex-windsurfer. Obviously, I kited, but for whatever reason, I felt a little intimidated with a harness to the wing. I don't know what it was. It just trying to that loop. It was like
windsurf flashbacks.
Yeah, it was like
tomahawk.
Am I gonna be able to get it? And all of a sudden getting thrown into it, which I have been, pulled into the wing since. But actually, after a few jives and turns, I was shocked, and when I finally, looped it in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't as bad as I thought.
I think it's easier. It's like cruise control.
I
like
agree.
You
Easy
lock
button.
into that spot on the harness line, and you can just kick back and do one of these, and twist your hips upwind. You just that power transfer is so much easier. You're not shock absorbing all the power out of your sail. You're just kicked back into it, and it just drives through your legs, and it just gives you more speed, better upwind ability.
I agree 100%.
So I'm a big fan of it. If you want to ride for more than an hour and a half at a time, for me it's a must. I just don't have that
old man strength.
Old man strength. Yeah, apparently.
Or just stubborn. Because ever since the harness, I'm like, game changer for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's just kind of jump into it here. Maybe a little bit about the different styles that are available and what we sell.
100%. So first one we have here, this is kind of our shop favorite, I would say, Mystic Wingman. Our shop had a hand in the design on this and prototyping testing. It's kind of, made for us, so to speak, and it's been great. Some key features: it's really soft, really flexible. Fairly low profile, but it has enough profile to spread out that load. Some people say, oh, you just need a belt. Like, yeah, go ride powered with a belt and come back with a broken rib and then tell me that. You need something to spread that load out, especially through the sides. When you're riding powered, it'll just pinch your ribs and it really hurts. Also, it's nice to have something to hook your leashes on if you want to hook your board leash to your back or your wing.
Yep. And all of these have that.
Sliding hook is kind of standard here. It's really low profile in this model.
Doesn't hurt the board much. I was thrilled.
Real soft.
And when you're getting up on the board, it doesn't seem to get in your way too much on that model.
If it does, move it to the side. You're all set. If you need to paddle in, move it to the side. And that just gives you that freedom to move your hips back and forth, which is cool. It's got a nice reliable buckle here that does pull out, so you don't need to crawl through it. Minor detail, but just a really good, simple, lightweight, flexible harness that does the job.
Adjust. Totally easy to adjust.
All set.
Tighten in, for sure. And then the other, I wouldn't say extreme, but a little different here is we've got, I would call this a semi-rigid harness. This will not absorb water, so the material in here, it stays the weight it is, very lightweight. This one this is the Ion, and the Rogue, Ion Rogue. I've actually ridden this quite a lot lately to kind of see what I thought about it. It has this little spring system, which, I mean, it's meant to kind of always right itself in the middle. It's not always the case. It can get kind of stuck over there. But anyways, that's kind of how that works out here. More profile, so obviously more support up through the lower back.
Yeah.
This type of style, when you lock in, it disperses all the power to the harness. Like, you're like, am I hooked in? Because it literally does the job of taking any pull of that wing. So that's kind of the nice thing that I liked about this, is that it really didn't feel any pull on your back. It basically took all the power of the wing and dispersed it into this harness. That's the thing I also didn't like about it, because I kind of lost a little bit of the wing at times. Like, in certain conditions, maybe not as big of a deal, but I kind of like what I did like about these is you do feel the pull. So then you can adjust with your body weight. You got immediate input.
Yep.
On how the wing
how
is
hard
pulling.
You can drive upwind, how
slide
much to
it
lean
forward
in
or back. So these give you that. You do feel it though. I mean, it feels like you feel like you're more locked in.
Snug, yeah. I wouldn't say it's painful.
No, not at all.
You feel a snugness.
You don't get
so for this one, going to who is it for? First thing I think of is you're riding really powered up. You have a wing that you're really riding the top end. It's very physical to ride. You need something to carry more of that load. I ride powered a lot. I don't find the need for something like this. I even have a bad lower back. I still don't find the need for something like this.
Still under
but
40 though, right?
If somebody does, yeah, especially, if it's right along where one of these fall, and that's where you're having issues, I think having a larger back plate makes a lot of sense. If you're racing or something and you just really want something that is going to lock in and be comfortable for hours on end at full power, you don't want to have any pinching where it might, reduce how you can breathe. I don't know how racers think. Those dudes are lunatics. They're so fast.
I would agree though. there is no pull on this harness.
Yeah.
One thing that is a little tough is the buckles. They're a little smaller. I do like, it may seem like a small thing, but these have bigger buckles on them, so they're easier.
Yeah, they kind of ratchet tight like that.
Very quick. Yeah. This one, you have to make sure that little thing is flat, and it's not flat now. Because if it's not flat, it comes undone, and it has come undone on me. Mm-hmm. Not as much now that I've used the harness more. Just have to be aware of the small little buckle system. You have to make sure it's flat and not out when it comes out.
Yeah.
This has a very aggressive hook, which
big, yeah.
And when you're hooked in, but when you go to unhook to do your drivers or attacks or get on a wave, you really have to do a little bit more of an exaggerated. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
It's a really powerful
just to get
hook.
get it off that where it's not.
So it's very deep. It's a little bit deeper.
Right. It's just a bigger thing to drop out of. But this thing's got all the bells and whistles.
It's
a cool harness. If you're looking for something that's just solid, rigid. It's got a nice little D-ring, for your wing in the front here. Mm-hmm. This is a cool idea. I think maybe there's some improvement to be done, but you know what? If it stays on the side, so do these ones if you leave them there.
Yep.
At least this one kind of comes back to normal, it's a cool feature. I think if you're really, fanaticky about it and aren't good at hooking in from your hip, then it could be
It works about
a nice improvement.
70% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, with these, you just can sometimes, I got these long, pointy elbows. I just sometimes hit it, or you can kind of loop it around to get it. It doesn't seem to be an issue that it gets caught to one side or the other.
Right.
Especially when you crash and fall.
Well, it moves easier, right? It doesn't jam up because it's a fatter belt. Yeah.
Good point.
Going to the middle.
Yeah.
It's not really in between these two. It's a lot more like the Wingman. This is the Dakine Solo harness. It's a little lighter weight than the Wingman. Little narrower profile, but still a comfortable harness. The hook is a little different. It's actually like a flat piece of plastic coated steel. So the idea is that it folds flat when you're laying on the board, and it works really well there. It slides just like the other one. It works really well. If there's a downside to this, is that most of the time it's not perfectly out like this.
That's what I was going to say. A little harder.
It's a little to the side.
Yep, and you have to.
It doesn't make it hard to hook in, but you do want to swing the rope closer to your body, I found. You know, at first it's kind of like, why can't I get it in there? Once you get used to it though, what you realize is that it's not sticking out like this, it's over here a lot of times. So, you know, you just gotta swing a little closer to your body to hook up into there. But this is a really great harness. It's really affordable.
I would agree.
And it has most of the bells and whistles is the Mystic, honestly. So, you know, if you're looking for something a little bit, you know, more on a budget, this is gonna get the job done. It's got some nice, reliable buckles here.
Nice and big.
They're a little harder to tighten because they're, you know, this metal material. A little harder to get in and out because of that. They kind of jam up sometimes trying to shove it through there, but same idea. Easy in, easy out. You can do it without crawling through.
Very minimalistic.
And then you double that back
I think it has
into the belt garage.
Pretty good support for being as minimalistic it is.
To keep it out of your way there, yeah. And it's super light. I mean, feel that. It's so crazy light.
It is the lightest of all of them.
And I mean, if you're traveling, you want it to pack flat, you want it to be super lightweight. Bam, right there. I mean, you
take up much space.
You could probably like shove that down your pants on the airplane and
go in there.
Make your way in. Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
They might not like you smuggling in a piece of.
So overall, we've digressed a little bit, but hey, you know, that's all right. So we just wanted to get a little overview. I mean, you have options out there. Again, the positive and negatives of the rigid. You don't feel much. It does what it says. It's, you know, it disperses the pull. Not much pull on your back. Very comfortable.
Feels a lot like a kiteboard harness, really.
If you're
familiar with that.
It does.
It's a bit more restrictive on how you can move.
Yep. And again,
you feel it on you for sure. You know, it's not just something that's just kind of hanging around your waist.
With these, you don't feel as much, I don't think.
Yeah. They flex, they bend with you.
Especially with
they're super light
that we wear these
They
days.
just kind of hang there. You know, especially if you don't crank them down. I don't feel the need to really tighten these down like you would a kiteboarding harness. So they kind of just hang there, and yeah, it's a little bit more free to move and groove.
Yeah. So if you have a harness, thinking about looking at a different one, here's some options to look at. And those of you that haven't even gotten into riding with a harness yet, I highly suggest getting a harness. It will unlock a lot of performance, going upwind, and less fatigue.
Yeah.
You know, and you can still have more time to rip and do everything you want to do on the wing. So
yeah. Quick before we go, personal preference. Which one are you going to choose, Jeff?
Hands down, this one. This
is the one I always choose.
This is wet. That's the one I had on this morning.
I always choose the Wingman, but the Solo is a very close second.
Yeah.
You know, again, we've talked about how I'm a cheap Dutch man. If I was spending my own hard-earned cash, I'd be taking this baby home.
Well,
and I'd be real happy with it.
And this looks like money. I mean, it looks nice.
It's beautiful.
And I've ridden this a lot and really wanted it to work, and it does work. It does.
I kind of want to put a kiteboard spreader bar on.
Oh, there you go.
That looks like a rad kite.
We could double up with it. So it still has a place. I mean, I work in a shop, so I can, you know, have choices. But if I had to do one choice, I agree with you. This would be number one. Yeah. This would probably be second, though.
Yeah, if you're going to wing around the world, this is the one you're going to do.
Long tacks forever, and you just want to feel nothing at all versus just a little bit in the hands. This one, it does that. Literally no pressure points.
Right on. So when we wing across Lake Michigan, you're gonna ride the Rogue.
Yeah, my front leg wouldn't handle that, but I'd have to change it up a little bit. That'd be a long tack for sure. But anyways, well, hey, I hope this helped you out a little bit with the harnesses. It's been Jeff and Matt Kite
and Tucker. We'll see you next time.